Smart people, intelligent people, they know that the old world have collapsed. Okay, if the something we build not sufficient anymore or collapse in many ways, but what's going to be built new in order to actually adapt to the new reality we have on Earth with the new challenges we have. We have the concept smart city, but if the model is broken, it's regardless of you making smart or not, you need to look up in the gain of this. I was interested in different experiments, different ideas, how to change the social economic development, how to make the cities self-sustainable. And the idea was not only to meet Jacque Fresco, who is actually the legend. When we were discussing at that time, build the first pilot project, and I proposed to him to actually do it in Ukraine. That project is still in development, and I will be happy to tell more.
Hello, Andrey. We are in Smart City Expo, USA. Can you tell a bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, glad to be here in New York for Smart City Expo. My name is Andrey. I'm a serial tech entrepreneur and venture capital investor from 2001. So for more than 2 decades, I've been investing in the entrepreneurs, Ukrainian and the European ones that actually building businesses in US. And also, I'm a chair of the Ukrainian Venture Capital Private Equity Association for the last 10 years. And we are the association that combines all investors that are invested in the Ukrainian tech entrepreneurs in and now. And also, we are promoting the different projects that are related to the new cities developments here in New York. And also, one of the initiatives that we are created with a focus exactly on the new city developments in Ukraine, together with the international community. It's called Mission on Earth.
Andrey, can you tell a bit about how you meet Jacque Fresco and why you fly to Venus to meet him a couple times? What are your business with him?
Well, first of all, I was always driven and fascinated by the concept of the new city developments. And of course, more than 10 years ago, I learned about the Jacque Fresco work. And of course, I was always eager to meet him. And the first time, I believe, we met in the Florida in his house back in 2015, I believe. That was the first one. And the idea was not only to meet Jacque Fresco, who is actually the legend, and it resonates his work that he's been promoting for many decades. And actually, when we were discussing at that time how to use the concept and build the first pilot project for that, and I proposed to him to actually do it in Ukraine as a first pilot project for a number of reasons. And so this is how it all started. But unfortunately, because he passed away, all of that freezed and other kind of reasons in life. But that project is still in development, and I will be happy to tell more. And as you know, we also done a few events, online events with the Ukraine community. That was a video bridge, right? That we done in the Kyiv Polytechnical University in Ukraine, and many other things together.
And there was 1,700 people gathering.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a big
event.
The biggest turnout. Yeah, I remember that one. Actually, it's one of the biggest events I ever presented at. Yeah.
It was nice. How these ideas influenced your work?
As I said, for last, I would say 2 decades, I was interested in different experiments, different ideas, how to change the social economic development, not the countries per se, but actually the cities, because the cities drives the development of the world. And I was always interested in the different forms of this, right? Because I lived in the communist country, then a socialist country. I lived in the US for many years, so I know all the different systems from capitalism to communism. I lived there actually. So, but the question was obviously that's not all. All of those systems, I would say, have like not a great side, but also the bad side of it. And I was always interested how to reinvent the way we live and use the different structures or the different way to do this. So this is why his work resonated and his ideas resonated to me to some extent, because he was always searches not only for the problem, but also how to address this problem. So I've also been always searching for solutions, how to address that. And not only how to make the city smart, right? That's why we have the concept and even the name of this conference is Smart City, But if the model is broken, it's regardless if you're making smart or not. You need to look up in the gain of this, and obviously nobody's happy. We have the. I'm not going to even count all the problems we have, especially now. The security now is a big address because nobody's safe anymore, not only in Ukraine but globally. Yeah. And also we need to reinvent the security layer for the people. And also, to be honest, now we live in the times when because of the decentralized way of the different technologies, different ideas. Now the technologies are able to implement the many ideas, or at least test them in a very quick manner. So I would say the power of the people now more equipped with the different technologies. So this is why it's much easier to implement this project, I would say. Not everywhere, of course, because we have still the regulation in place. But this is the reason why we are pushing the projects in Ukraine under the Mission on Earth umbrella as a bridge to international community, explaining to them in Ukraine that everything is now possible. Yeah, of course, you see the pictures, you see the war, this is true, but also there are many capabilities, and the Ukraine is so big, right, in order to invent, to use the new approaches, also for how people live, educate, work, rest, and other things under this environment. And just to sum up on this one, why Ukraine? Because we have 8 million people displaced. With all respect to the other projects, you know all of them, they use the kind of up to the bottom approach. They want to build the cities for millions, but the question I always ask my international colleagues, if you build them in the desert, yeah, will people come in to actually live there? In Ukraine,
stay.
Right, exactly. But to the point, in Ukraine, you already have a proven demand for the 8 million people be displaced, but they need to have a reason to come back. They need to place to live, work, educate, also with the new security measurements and other things, right? So how are you going to address the biggest opportunity? And to this point, Ukraine is not only the biggest construction site on earth, right, in order to address this problem, but also it's not only about the urbanism, about the architecture, it's about like how you actually build something when community is actually building the cities from scratch, design the city from scratch, are part of this, rather than just like wait for the 5 to 10 years when some developers will build something for you. No, we need to use this bottom-up approach in order the citizens will actually have a power to create something they want to live in. We're going to have tools that are going to influence the citizenship, not only on building it, but also how you're going to manage this, how you're going to manage the city inside. Of course, the whole concept, you need the mayor. Why you need the mayor? If you have the app and you have a service company that actually will ask you what do you want to have inside the cities, or what you don't want to be there as an object, as a business operations.
It's time to go forward.
Exactly. And by the way, if the question is, guess what? We don't want the smokers inside our cities. Just go 15 minutes walk away from the cities and then designate these areas to do smoking, right? If you put the questions like this for the people that actually want to live there, so you don't need to have this referendum, because every day you can ask the citizens, and of course there is a majority of what votes should be applied for it. But this is what I'm talking about, the mechanism that can be used for it.
Yeah, is it really possible to build something like Jacque Fresco was talking about, like highly automated city system that combine all technology, etc., to provide everything for people, for residents?
I would say that we are at the stage that majority of the technology is already available. However, if you look at the city as a product, it's not available, right? There is no best footprint or the product, or white label from scratch, right? To cover it, because the city itself is very complex product, right? Because you have many different layers how you to make the city self-sustainable, right? how to make the city not reliant not only on the outside grid, but also on many, I would say, autonomous decisions, absolutely, the technologies to actually how to make the city self-sustainable, self-consuming, self-producing, everything the city needs for the life. I would say the many technologies out there, but still you need to experiment with that. And the Ukraine, to that point, is a test bed for this. And by the way, we have many laws in place. For example, for blockchain, it's legit, so we can use experiment with that, and many other things that you can do this in a very scalable manner. So I would say the Ukraine now is something you can build the MVP, right? But on the sizable territory and the sizable country, because you have all the talent there, and obviously we also welcome the international community to team up in order to actually build things from scratch, to use the best of the technologies in this very complex product, which city itself. But to your to kind of answer to your question is, all technologies are there, all the ingredients are there, but you need to have the bright people to actually come over and make it happen. So that's why we are pushing this, and will help on the mission on Earth as an initiative that have many services to bridge the bright people globally, from investors to urbanists, or for the futurists, for the real people that can deploy products or deploy services together with the community that we have in Ukraine as well, right? So we have many experiments, we have many projects already up and running. So we need to team up and make the best of it we could. And then I believe the best practices out of it, we can share to the global community, but they will have something to be proven and implemented in a very fast manner. This is very important now, because obviously the many barriers are already lifted, because you need to address of the problem how to get the 8 million people displaced, right? So this is why I would say Ukraine is the fastest path on Earth how you can implement projects like this, right? In order to not to depend on the red tape and other restrictions.
Are people open or ready for such huge changes? Are they talking about this, maybe on this summit, maybe on other political area? Yeah, I know you was holding a Ukraine House in Davos many years, and you were talking about these ideas behind the scenes. And what are this collective mind, collective direction about this new opportunities?
Look, the smart people, intelligent people, they know that unfortunately the old world have collapsed, right? Everything have been built in terms of infrastructure structures, international law. There are many things have been collapsed.
We need to adopt some.
Right? No. But the people are searching what is actually going to be next for the humanity. So they're searching. Well, city is a form, right? But what is going to be inside the city is a new form of how people live, perform, economy, how it's linked to the community. All of the things people are searching for the best forms of this, in order to see, okay, if there's something we build not sufficient anymore or collapse in many ways, but what's going to be built new in order to actually to adapt to the new reality we have on Earth with the new challenges we have. But how are we going to adapt and get best of it in order actually to keep us going in a more creative way, to address the old problems we have in the new solutions for the sake of the citizens, obviously for the sake of also the creative class. Obviously, this is the biggest magnet so far to our initiatives for the people I met. They want to do things because they build also, not only the Jacque Fresco was talking about for the number of decades, right? But everybody wants to see like this is already been implemented in real life. So it's a call for all people on globe to actually to team up, because we have now all resources to implement it and to have the best practice out of this, right? In order to show our other ones, okay, guess what? This is something, stop talking about what is not working. We all know about all our problems, okay? So stop talking about that. But the question is, how are we going to address that in a very complex product like city itself, okay? How to actually team up and use the best of what we built so far on the different segments or different verticals in order to actually to make the city performing for the citizens in the best way we can.
And what about already existing smart city projects? How they maybe different or obsolete from these ideas that we are working on?
Look, the current project, of course, they're trying to make the current cities with the current systems more, I would say, they're trying to upgrade with the technology. Of course, they're trying also solve the current problems that the cities have, especially the big ones. Of course, this is happening. But I'm not a big believer that current cities that can reinvent themselves. Of course, some of them try to do this. So there are a few examples and globally wise that they kind of try to do this basically from scratch, but just a few examples. So I'm a believer more greenfield than brownfield projects.
Yeah, so from the ground up, you need to create a new.
Exactly, you can design everything from scratch, inside, outside. But what I'm also don't believe in the new cities built on the small islands because it's not scalable, right? I understand that the people chasing islands because you have like less of the red tape in terms of legislation in order to kind of influence you, but it's still there. So this is why Ukraine is the biggest place in the Europe in terms of sizability, access to the resources and other things. And guess what? Even in many parts of the Ukraine, it's even safer than many existing cities on Earth that don't have a war. Okay, look at the crime rates in many cities of the Kiev or many cities in Ukraine are much far above the 50 or hundreds even in comparison with the current crime rates. So
yeah,
from this standpoint,
some solutions to this problem.
No, exactly. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That of course you see the war on the screens, right? But still, we, in comparison with other safety issues in the current city, so it's not that dangerous to do something or build something in Ukraine. Of course, in the different territories, 100 kilometers away from the war zone and some other things. So look at this from the prospects of the opportunity, access to the talent, and the other things which are faster to the deployments. And so this is what attracts the many bright minds globally in order to team up with us and to do the joint projects together.
Yeah, great. Can you elaborate a bit more about your project Mission on Earth? As I understand, this will be some test ground for implementing some technologies about smart city, and this will be like little prototype of the future cities.
Yeah. Yes, we have this as first pilot projects in the Kiev region. And our current focus on the first object, which is a convention/showroom set of buildings. Basically, the idea is to bring the best technologies, the best cases around the world from different companies, from different players, NGOs, private people, to put it in one place and to showcase on the constant basis the projects in Ukraine, globally best practices as a sandbox, when people can constantly showcase, not only like in this conference, just for 2 days and that's it. So, and we have, guess what? We have many countries that had a post-war experience to rebuild something, or the current technologies they want to use and deploy. So this is why for them, Ukraine is a test bed to deploy something that never been deployed globally yet. And of course, the ongoing the events and convention center in order to bring the bright minds globally, right? To build the content, but also to have a practical side of it, right? Because if the company have an experience, they want to actually implement it. So everybody comes there, will actually see what they've done already, and also ongoing projects or ongoing deployments in Ukraine as well, all over of the place, and also all the projects inside Ukraine and globally you can showcase there in order to have this dedicated place on an ongoing basis. So this is the first project, first set of buildings as a part of the bigger pilot projects. And also we're talking to different stakeholders that already have the implementations of different parts of this, right? And globally. from technoparks to some industrial parks, to the education facilities, and so on and so on, in order to be part of this master planning, so they can actually implement what they want as a part of the bigger projects, because we are managing the master planning, and now we're looking for the partners that want to build some or implement what they want as a part of this bigger project in the Kyiv region. So we're very open to talk to the different stakeholders, different developers, urbanists, investors, and so on and so on. Everybody wants to implement something. Welcome to talk to us. In order to our team will see how we can make it happen together.
Yes, thanks. And what do you think? What do you need to succeed in this project?
We need the people. We need access to the resources, and we need the people that are capable to implement projects, I would say. And this is the reason why we are here, and that's the reason why we're talking to all the community related to the city developments, smart city, and other relevant topics we have been discussing. Because it's very complex job to do, right? Because you need to have a different skill set of the people in order to make this complex product as a city itself.
Yeah, great. And what about social experiments? I see a lot of gadgets or some narrow decisions, like a product to solve some small problem. But what about social experiments in this city? How will be different the life in new cities from what we used to?
Well, it's a very complex question, right? Yeah. And this is what I'm referring to experimenting, because of course there are different ideas from the sharing resources, from the super app that not only serve the citizens. For example, in Ukraine we have the super app that 25 million Ukrainians are using on a daily basis, and they have more than 100 services already there, very different ones that makes the life of the people easier.
Government services.
Yeah, different government services, but also the different financial services, data-related services, and so on and so on. So it's even beyond the government services, right? So it's related to community and so on and so on. So how to have the super app that actually serve the interest of the citizens, rather to have dozens of different apps which is not related to each other. It's number one. Secondly, how you build another layer of the governance. Okay, so we're not there yet, right? How to actually make the community and the decision-making process are transparent with actually citizens, not using the intermediaries, right? Because now the system is like you need to delegate someone to be the government, right? So, but how about the majority of the services or decision maker to make it actually direct in order to serve the communities? And guess what? The technologies are out there, and also the internal laws can be implemented. Internal laws based on the community desire. You don't need to have only the federal parliament or country parliament to manage the country. The citizens can come up with internal constitution and the laws in order to address the issues they want to address. Of course, it could be done by majority of the laws or whatever the community decide. Yeah, imagine that any question the community wants to bring it up, right? That is possible, and of course, for the decision making, right? Yeah. And the last piece is like how you experiment with different economical engagements. If community will decide, guess what? We want to use our internal fund. We're going to back it up, and then we're going to attract the bright talents, right? The entrepreneurs. And if entrepreneurs are doing something on our lab or on our facilities, and we, by the way, we also as a mentor can contribute to this, and then the entrepreneur will make a deal. Once I'm going to be successful, then I will give back to community, right? Part of my wealth, part of my profits, whatever, right? I'm going to contribute back to community in order to support the other entrepreneurs. It's just like small example how the agreements between the community and entrepreneurs, between the other talents, can work with the new system. Not only the old tax system, but actually how to make these civil agreements between the different people in order how the community will attract them, will help them in the very beginning of their life journey or the professional journey, but also having in mind they're going to contribute back to the community in order to support the other initiatives the community wants to support, right? You don't need to have the central government for that. It's just a decision of the community, and it's like civil agreement between them and with the external people. And then many things are possible to drive the communities, drive the cities, and make them sustainable, and many other things.
And how close we are to this step?
How close we already started the project. This is how close we are, and everybody is welcome to join us. Of course, I can talk for hours what we are working on, but obviously we not only put in the blueprint for you, we can put in the opportunity for you, and then attract people that can actually, in many layers of this city as the product, can actually contribute and bring their ideas, right, as a test bed, as an experiment, and to see what is working, what is not working, how to make it work, and some other things. So we're not just putting like or saying we know it all. What we're saying is come to us, talk to us, and let's do it together. Let's do something good based on your experience, based on your previous work, background, etc., and try to make it together and they actually deploy it as a real projects, as a real city. So that's why. So let's do it together. Let's do something good, and please reach out to us anytime. It's Mission on Earth. We're building the new cities in Ukraine. Everybody's welcome to join us, because Ukraine is going to be, and the cities in Ukraine are international projects. So everybody's welcome to join us, and let's do it together.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Andrey.
Thank you so much.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, likewise. Let's do something good. Cheers. Bye-bye.